It's just recently we became aware that in 2011 there was a competition called the Tree of the Year for Europe, and we felt that Northern Ireland should have a representative there. So this year we went to the public online and asked them to nominate their favourite trees across the country. And as a result of that, we've whittled it down to 6. And we're looking at it in terms of each tree has a story and the importance of the story more than just about the tree itself. So we've come up with 6, one of which is the oak tree behind us here in Woodvale Park in Belfast, and was nominated from the Shankill Road to commemorate those who had served during the First World War.
Yeah, the peace tree was planted in 1919 on Empire Day, and it was dedicated on Friday the 8th of August 1919, and that was the day before the grand peace parade through Belfast by all the veterans who had served in the First World War. It's very important. It's sat beside what was commonly called by the locals as a threepenny bit. It was a gazebo with seats in it, and I suppose the old veterans would have sat there and watched the tree as it grew. And as time passed away, the veterans faded and died. And then, of course, the Second World War came along, and more or less the memory of that tree, that oak tree, died. We were discovering quite a few bits in and around the district that were connected to the Great War. And one of the bits that intrigued us was this one line in a book by Robert Scott of Belfast City Council, who had wrote a book called The Breath of Fresh Air. And in that book he mentioned 2 special trees that were planted on the eve of the big parade through Belfast. And that kicked us off into looking for our tree. And that started in and around the 1990s. And didn't resolve till 2006. We eventually ended up with the peace tree here behind us, an oak tree. We got it aged, and it was aged at 90 years old at that point. We had found by the means of a metal detector the remains of an ornate fence that had been round it, so we were, and with the threepenny bit, looking at old maps, we were able to ascertain that the threepenny bit sat there where the new European War Memorial sits today. So we knew we had the tree.
And we're hoping that, we've got trees that have been nominated from Bangor right through to Derry. So we've whittled it down to the 6. The oak tree behind me, things like the mulberry bush that was planted in Bangor by the lady of the house in Bangor Castle in the 1850s. And the tree at Dunadry Inn, which was the tree that was the symbolic with the peace talks in 1998, where we had John Hume and David Trimble and Tony Blair sitting underneath it discussing the process for peace in Northern Ireland. And we're hoping that people living locally and indeed across the country will actually come online and vote for their favourite tree. And with the resultant winner actually going through to what we're calling the Eurovision Song Contest, not Song Contest but the actual tree contest, and will represent Northern Ireland in the spring of 2016. So we had lots and lots of excellent trees. The difficulty was actually whittling it down, but we felt that this particular tree here in Belfast has its own story to tell. It's got its resonance with the local population, both on the Shankill and the Woodville area. So it was a worthy contestant for the finals.
We thought, why not? What is more worthy of a nomination than a tree called the Peace Tree? And for those people, not only from this district, but from across Belfast and Ireland as a whole, who went away and never came back again. And here is a living reminder in the shape of a grand oak tree of those people who give their lives. So, if I was being awfully honest, I think we have the greater story. All the rest of them are very worthy contenders, and they certainly deserve people's attention. But when you boil it down, it's particularly in this time of this decade of centenaries, for all the people of Ireland want better than to have the peace tree from all those years ago.
We're already finding, we announced this at the beginning of the week, we're already finding that people who have nominated trees, their Facebook pages are alive with people making comments and talking about the trees. But we're aware there's probably about 6,000 significant trees dotted throughout the countryside and in our towns. And we have spoken to the Minister, Mark Durkan, about possibly setting up a register of all these trees so that people will know where they are. So rather than just passing a tree, there will be some information to guide people as to why these trees are significant. And in fairness to the Minister, he has been very receptive to our call. We're still waiting for a final decision. But hopefully we will have a register, the same as we have a register of listed buildings and ancient monuments. We should have a register of all our significant trees so that people can actually know where they are, know the story behind them, and more importantly, enjoy them.
It already has crossed that barrier. We have had two separate young schools, primary schools up visiting the tree and the memorial itself. So as far as that's concerned, that's already ongoing and it's already taken root, if you pardon the pun. And we are doing our utmost to let everybody know about this, as regardless of background, political stance, whatever. The tree is there, and it is very important that the title of the tree be remembered, the Peace Tree, Woodvale Park, and that's the thrust. That's where you want to drive home.
It's as simple as going online, and it's all the W's, woodlandtrust.org.uk/Tree of the Year. If you go online there, you will find the four countries. Click on the Northern Ireland button, and it'll give you a description of all the trees, and hopefully people will actually go out and visit these trees.